When we talk about young New Zealand rugby players who were right on the edge of breaking through, Harry Inch is a name that deserves far more discussion than he gets. Not because he failed, not because he didn't live up to expectation, but because his journey shows just how narrow and unforgiving the professional rugby pathway in New Zealand really is. From the beginning, Inch looked like a classic New Zealand rugby first five. Composed, physically robust, and already thinking several phases ahead. He wasn't the loudest player on the field, but he was the one teammates naturally followed. At Nelson College, Inch quickly became the centrepiece for the first 15. Playing at first five and captaining the side, he showed maturity well beyond his years. His performances weren't built on highlights alone, they were built on game control. He could bring forwards onto the ball, manage territory, and stand tall defensively. That's something selectors noticed quickly, especially at 10. In high-pressure school rugby, Inch consistently delivered when it mattered most, helping Nelson College compete at the very top of the national scene. Those performances earned him selection for New Zealand schools, placing him firmly among the elite players of his age group. At this point, Harry Inch was exactly where New Zealand rugby wanted him to be. From there, Inch entered one of the toughest environments in world rugby, the Crusaders development pathway. For a young first five, this is both a privilege and a challenge. The Crusaders don't just produce players, they refine them. Every detail matters. Every training rep is intense. Every decision is scrutinised. Inch trained alongside experienced professionals and highly rated prospects. He was exposed to elite game preparation, tactical detail, and physical demands that few teenagers experience. Importantly, he didn't look out of place. Those within the system spoke up about his mental toughness, his willingness to learn, and his ability to absorb feedback quickly. He was strong for his age, competitive in contact, and willing to defend, traits the Crusaders value heavily in their playmakers. However, the Crusaders system is also brutally competitive, at first five especially. Opportunities are scarce. You're not just competing with players your age, you're competing with established Super Rugby professionals and long-term projects already ahead of you. Progress in this environment is often quiet and patient, and Inch was very much seen as a long-term development prospect rather than immediate solution. Alongside his Crusaders involvement, Inch was named in the Tasman Mako squad, one of the strongest and most settled NPC teams in the country. On paper, this looked like the next logical step. But this is where the reality of New Zealand rugby pathways becomes clear. Tasman are a win-now province. They don't rebuild, they reload, especially in key positions like first five. They rely on experience, cohesion, and proven performers. For a young player like Inch, simply making the squad was an achievement in itself. However, the game time didn't come. Despite being part of the environment, training week in and week out, Inch didn't get meaningful minutes on the field for Tasman. Not because he wasn't capable, but because opportunities at NPC level are limited, and coaches rarely rotate playmakers unless forced to. This is a crucial point that gets overlooked. Many young players stall, not due to lack of talent, but due to lack of exposure. You can train at a high level, learn systems, and grow physically. But without match minutes, development slows, confidence stalls, momentum fades. For a young fly half especially, game reps are everything. By late 2025, Harry Inch found himself at a crossroads familiar to many talented New Zealand rugby players. He was in elite systems, he was well regarded internally, but the pathway forward was unclear and slow. At the same time, Rugby League came knocking. The New Zealand Warriors saw something in Inch that Union had yet to fully unlock. A strong organiser, a natural competitor, and an athlete with skills that translate seamlessly between codes. League offers something Union often can't for young players: clear progression and opportunity. In late 25, Harry Inch made the decision to switch codes, signing with the Warriors and committing his future to Rugby League. It wasn't a rejection to Rugby Union. It was a response to reality. League valued his leadership, his physicality, his passing game, and his ability to manage space. Where Union saw a long-term project, League saw immediate potential. For New Zealand rugby, it was a reminder of how competitive the fight for young talent has become, and how easily gifted players can slip through the cracks when pathways stall. Harry Inch's story isn't about wasted talent. It's about timing, opportunity, and choice. He proved himself at school grade level, he earned national age grade honours, he survived and learned in elite Crusader and NPC environments. But without consistent game time, the pathway forward narrowed. His move to League doesn't erase what he achieved in Union. It highlights how valuable his skill set truly is. Whether he becomes an NRL regular, a long-term Warriors playmaker, or even returns to Union one day, one thing is certain. Harry Inch was good enough. The system just didn't move fast enough for him. And his journey is far from over.